China prints 54 trillion yuan yet faces deflation. Where did the money go? Japanese think tank, China's financial crisis may break out in 2027. A rare sandstorm and force 14 winds strike Xinjiang, with the video footage being terrifying. Angela Zhao hunted by CCP? Widespread speculation as Zhao family maintains silence. 2 drown as Taiwan pursues Chinese speedboats. Beijing stirs national emotions in response. It's all covered in today's China Truths. China prints 54 trillion yuan yet faces deflation. Where did the money go? Between 2021 and 2023, the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, printed an astonishing 54 trillion yuan, about $7.6 trillion, yet, remarkably, this massive infusion of cash failed to stimulate China's economy. This total includes an extra 25.84 trillion yuan, approximately $3.63 trillion in 2023 and an additional 28.14 trillion yuan, about $4.03 trillion in 2022. Highlighting the scale, in February 2023, Ma Jinghao, a Chinese finance and tax expert, noted that the 2022 figure alone matched the combined money-printing efforts of the United States, Japan, and the European Union, despite China's GDP being only about 70% of that of the United States. With the Consumer Price Index, CPI, experiencing its sharpest decline in 14 years by January 2024, and given the CCP's tendency to manipulate statistical data for a more favorable portrayal, the actual situation might be even more dire. This raises pressing questions: where has all the money gone, and why has it not catalyzed economic growth? Dive into the heart of China's financial enigma, where the reality of rampant money printing meets the stark absence of expected economic vitality. China's economy, a baffling paradox. Lu Yuanxing, a political and economic analyst based in the U.S. and former marketing executive at a Chinese company, noted that last year, CCP officials vehemently denied any signs of deflation within China's economy. Yet, time and again, the truth appears to be exactly what the CCP denies. Talking to the Epoch Times on February 16, Lu highlighted the oddity of China's economy. It's a square peg in the round hole of traditional Western economic theory, not quite fitting into standard definitions of inflation or deflation but rather operating under a distinct model crafted by the CCP's tight grip. Lu pinpointed a curious inconsistency. Despite the CCP's heavy printing and issuing of money, which aligns with the definition of inflation, the cash isn't really boosting the real economy. Instead, it circulates within the financial system without fostering genuine economic growth, leading to what he calls financial idling. This phenomenon means that despite the influx, the amount of money actively circulating and impacting the economy is actually diminishing, resulting in deflation. Lu explained that this stems from the fact that China doesn't operate a market economy. He also pointed out the pervasive corruption within the CCP, with many officials prioritizing their own wealth and power over national and public interest. Consequently, a significant portion of the newly issued currency ends up in the pockets of these officials and various interest groups, further distorting the economy. Where has the newly printed money gone? Tracking where loans go gives us a clue about economic growth. So, what's happening with all that fresh cash? Data by the end of 2023 shows a whopping 22.75 trillion yuan boost, around $3.23 trillion in RMB loans. Breaking it down, households got a slice of about 4.33 trillion yuan, roughly $0.61 trillion, making up 19% of the year's new loans. Meanwhile, enterprises and institutions nabbed 17.91 trillion yuan, about $2.54 trillion, which is a hefty 78% of the total. The split between household and enterprise/institution loans leaned heavily towards the latter, with an 80-20 ratio. Notably, medium and long-term loans to enterprises and institutions saw a major uptick, increasing by 13.57 trillion yuan, approximately 1.93 trillion US dollars, which is about 76% of their total loan increase. Short-term loans, on the other hand, were a drop in the bucket by comparison. Typically, medium and long-term loans are aimed at investments like fixed assets, while short-term loans cover immediate needs for operations and production. Plus, RMB deposits jumped by 25.74 trillion yuan, about 3.65 trillion US dollars, in 2023, with household deposits alone climbing by 16.67 trillion yuan, around 2.37 trillion US dollars. Lu Yuanqing sheds light on this, saying the CCP's newly minted yuan got funneled into loans, which then morphed into deposits. He gets real about it. Nearly 80% of the loans were snagged by enterprises and institutions, meaning big state-owned players pulled most of the cash. But, instead of flowing into ventures that could actually pay off, a lot of that dough just ended up parked in deposits or sliced up by the CCP's top dogs. So, it never really hit the broader economy. Lu further points out the CCP's heavy bets on infrastructure, including a ballooning real estate sector, have just piled up into unprofitable heaps of concrete. No profit, no stimulus for the economy. And despite the economy hitting deflation hard, the CCP's been on a printing spree, thinking it'll spark growth. But the crux of the issue? Dwindling consumer spending power. Lu Yuanqing nails it. The decline in consumption can be attributed to a significant population decrease. Naturally, fewer people means less spending. The pandemic saw a considerable loss of lives, a truth the CCP continuously conceals. Another crucial factor is the lack of disposable income among the populace. Rampant corruption and exploitation by CCP officials have deprived ordinary citizens of their rightful earnings, leaving them unable to engage in consumer spending. With less money, people are even more hesitant to spend, particularly in the face of the current challenging economic climate and post-pandemic uncertainties, leading them to prioritize saving over spending. Japanese think tank, China's financial crisis may break out in 2027. As per Nikkei's Chinese website, on December 18, 2023, the Japanese think tank, named Japan Center for Economic Research, published its economic growth forecast for 18 Asia-Pacific countries and regions through 2035. In it, the future of China was depicted as particularly bleak, with discussions around the potential for a drastic fall in real estate prices, a bursting bubble, and the subsequent onset of a financial crisis. The report highlights that the slump in China's real estate market has persisted for over 2 years. Despite Beijing's intentions to ramp up financial support for real estate firms, such measures could significantly strain the financial system. A plummet in housing sales prices could massively inflate the volume of non-performing real estate loans, posing broader operational risks, especially to smaller banks. The Japanese think tank holds that while the bursting of a real estate bubble is not deemed highly probable, it remains a possible scenario. The report ventures into China's economic landscape post-financial crisis, speculating that such a crisis could break out by 2027. Projected outcomes in the report suggest a grim future where prioritizing debt repayment by the CCP leads to drastic cuts in infrastructure investments, an uptick in capital flight, and a potential devaluation of the RMB to about 9 yuan per US dollar. In this scenario, China's real GDP growth could stagnate, reaching zero growth by 2027. Furthermore, the report warns that regardless of whether a severe economic downturn materializes, China's actual growth rate is on a trajectory for continued deceleration. A rare sandstorm and force 14 winds strike Xinjiang, with the video footage being terrifying. Post-Chinese New Year 2024, Xinjiang found itself in the grip of an extraordinary sandstorm and fierce winds, painting the sky an eerie reddish-orange. Eyewitnesses expressed their shock and horror, comparing the scenes to those from a thriller or apocalyptic film. In detail, on February 17, numerous people shared videos online of their encounter with a sandstorm on the Turpan-Hami Expressway. By 10:30 a.m., the sun was obscured, leaving the sky a reddish-orange for about 30 minutes. The captured video footage portrayed the sky in a dark red color, reminiscent of disaster movie special effects, rendering humans incredibly vulnerable and minuscule in comparison. In certain parts of Xinjiang, winds reached up to level 14, damaging numerous vehicles, with some windows being completely smashed. To make temporary repairs, people turned to makeshift solutions like cardboard and tape. Xinjiang also faced its most severe cold wave of the year. By 8 a.m. on February 18, significant temperature drops were noted throughout the northern, eastern, and southern regions of Xinjiang. The eastern Altai regions saw temperatures at 4 stations fall by over 30 degrees Celsius. A record-breaking low of -52.3 degrees Celsius was recorded at the Turhong Township Station in Fuyun County, marking the lowest temperature ever recorded in Xinjiang. As of 8 a.m. on the 18th, the Ministry of Transport's Road Network Center reported that snowfall had shut down 54 roadways and 71 toll booths in Gansu and Xinjiang. Additionally, sandstorms led to the closure of 7 toll booths in Inner Mongolia and Qinghai, leaving over 20,000 passengers stranded in Gansu. The Xinjiang Railway Department added that due to harsh winds and blizzards, it had to cancel 39 passenger trains on the 16th, 54 on the 17th, and plans to cancel 6 more on the 18th. This event has the online community buzzing, with comments like, "I really can't see anything, horrible. This is the first time I've witnessed the sky like this, and in all my 30 years, I've never seen glass shattered like this." Xinjiang wasn't alone in facing extreme weather. The Central Meteorological Observatory issued triple alerts for strong winds, cold waves, and sandstorms, signaling a major chill sweeping across China from west to east and north to south. From February 16 to 22, most of the country is bracing for a sharp temperature drop of 8 to 12 degrees Celsius. From the 18th to the 22nd, expect heavy snow and severe blizzards in areas like Shaanxi, parts of Hebei, Hunan, Hubei, Shandong, as well as central and northern Jiangsu and Anhui, with southwestern Tibet and southeastern Qinghai also in the mix. Freezing rain is predicted to hit Hunan, Hubei, Hunan, and Guizhou from the 20th to the 22nd, moving from north to south. Moreover, the period from the 18th to the 22nd will see moderate to heavy rainfall across the Han River area, the Yangtze River Basin, and central and northern South China, with potential for severe rainstorms. Thunderstorms, intense showers, and possibly hail or severe convective weather, including strong winds, are also on the radar. Angela Zhao hunted by CCP? Widespread speculation as Zhao family maintains silence. As previously reported, the recent passing of Angela Xiao, sister to the former U.S. Secretary of Transportation and Labor Elaine Chao, and the chairman and CEO of Foremost Group, has sent shockwaves through both national and international circles. Yet, the cause of her death as reported by media in mainland China starkly contradicts the details provided by U.S. law enforcement, indicating that there was something not simple behind the incident. On the 17th, Fang Wei, a user on the X platform, reported that mainland media claimed Angela Chao was fatally struck by a truck at a red light in Texas, with the truck driver allegedly under the influence of alcohol. This account sharply contrasts with statements from local police in Blanco County, Texas, where the accident occurred, indicating that Chao's death resulted from drowning in a pond on a private ranch in Blanco County, following a car reversing mishap. Texas police suggest that the consistent deception by Chinese media is a maneuver that could only be coordinated by the CCP, implying that the Chinese government had a hand in orchestrating Chao's death. Fang Wei highlighted Angela Chao's roles on the boards of the state-owned Bank of China and the China State Shipbuilding Corporation. Her husband, Jim Breyer, previously a major shareholder in Facebook, deepened his collaborations with the CCP. Both were significantly involved in the military-industrial complex of the CCP, possessing thorough knowledge of its operations. The New York Times has also shed light on the intimate political and business connections between the Zhao family and Beijing. A moment of private conversation between then Chinese Vice President Wang Qishan and Elaine Chao during the height of the U.S.-China trade war in October 2019 at the Japanese monarch's enthronement garnered media attention. Angela Chao, the youngest daughter of Chinese-American shipping tycoon James Chao, succeeded her father at the helm of Foremost Group in 2018. Her obituary noted her American birth and commitment to fostering East-West relations, emphasizing her never-forgotten roots. Fong Wei further suggested that the circumstances surrounding Angela Chao's pond-drowning death, rather than being a mere accident, seemed deliberate. Linking this with information from Kyle Bass, a prominent American investor and a member of the Hudson Institute's China Center Advisory Council, about Chao's husband Breyer's recent intentions to disengage from Chinese partnerships, Chao's death appears intricately connected to China. Fong Wei argued, the CCP doesn't act as a government or a business ally but as a mafia, and given the misinformation campaign about Angela Chao's demise, he deems the situation highly suspect. As of now, aside from the obituary, there has been no response from the Foremost Group or the Zhao family regarding the media reports. 2 drown as Taiwan pursues Chinese speedboats, Beijing stirs national emotions in response. On February 14, the Taiwan Coast Guard reported that they intercepted an unmarked Chinese speedboat illegally fishing 1.2 nautical miles east of Beijing, Kinmen, well within the restricted 0.5 nautical mile zone. The attempted expulsion led to an escape effort by the speedboat, causing 4 crew members to fall overboard. Taiwan launched a rescue, saving 2, but the other 2 succumbed despite emergency medical efforts. On February 15, as reported by the Liberty Times, Yuan, the chairman of Taiwan's Maritime Affairs Commission, offered her condolences, emphasizing dignity for the deceased and stating the ongoing investigation made it too early for conclusions. She assured that transparency would prevail once findings were ready. On China's side, the CCP's Taiwan Affairs Office accused Taiwan's ruling Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, of harshly and dangerously handling Chinese fishermen, labeling it the main cause of the tragedy. Spokesperson Zhu Fenglian called for a factual clarification and sternly warned Taiwan to honor the historical fishing practices in the Taiwan Strait, aiming to prevent future incidents. Speaking to the Sound of Hope, Professor Wang Hongren from National Cheng Kung University's Political Science Department remarked on the CCP's Taiwan Affairs Office's serious yet overblown reaction, accusing Taiwan of excessive force without awaiting investigation outcomes. This, he suggests, reveals a predetermined bias against Taiwan, particularly the DPP. The Coast Guard's findings indicated the mainland vessel was at fault for breaching Taiwan's restricted waters and attempting to dodge inspection before capsizing, contradicting claims of deliberate aggression by Taiwan. Despite ongoing political tensions, channels for communication remain operational, with Taiwan notifying the mainland of incidents, often without response. Wang interprets the CCP's Taiwan Affairs Office's charged reaction as a deliberate move to stoke nationalistic fervor online, subsequently criticized for perceived weakness. He speculates that legal disputes could arise as the incident is potentially used to exert pressure on Taiwan and question its maritime boundaries. Wang's conclusion is clear: the CCP's manipulation of the event is starkly evident. Li Yuanhua, a scholar based in Australia, observes that the CCP's Taiwan Affairs Office appears hesitant to escalate a recent incident, treating it as an isolated case. Their current response is tepid, following standard procedures and issuing vague statements that obscure the actual details. This behavior is attributed to the CCP's poor management of its fishing fleet, resulting in frequent illegal fishing and subsequent expulsions by Taiwan's maritime authorities. Typically, these unmarked boats, fearing penalties, attempt to escape quickly, leading to accidents, a situation nobody wants. If the CCP intended to escalate this matter, we'd expect to hear more forceful rhetoric or provocative statements, leaving nationalists and traditionalists dissatisfied with the lack of assertiveness. The real question is whether the CCP will escalate similar incidents in the future. Given its disregard for international norms and penchant for using minor disputes to justify its domestic actions, it's quite possible. However, this incident doesn't seem to follow that pattern, especially with Xi Jinping not indicating any immediate aggressive moves towards Taiwan. Lai Ching-te's firm stance against the CCP means that overblowing this incident could provoke a stronger reaction from him, potentially cornering the CCP. Without any planned immediate attack or specific actions, and given Lai Ching-te's potentially strong responses, escalating the situation seems unwarranted. Thus, it seems they prefer to downplay this incident for now. Internationally, their ability to stir controversy is limited, thanks to well-documented maritime law enforcement by Taiwan, which prevents them from making baseless accusations. From 2019 to the end of last year, the Taiwan Coast Guard has reported intercepting over 6,600 Chinese fishing vessels for illegal entry, detaining 176, issuing fines to 138, with total fines surpassing 139 million new Taiwan dollars, about $4.4 million US, and confiscating 33 boats. Let us know your thoughts on today's topic by leaving a comment below. If you found this video helpful, please share it with a friend. It inspires us to continue creating more quality and reliable content. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more interesting insights from China Truths. Thanks for tuning in.